Summer is winding up. Have you been spending a lot of time socializing, maybe eating a little bit too much junk food, ready to get back into some regular eating? Hey, I'm Cora Naylor, emotion code practitioner. Summer is just a time for socializing with family and friends, and that also usually means a lot of eating. All those barbecues, social events, and all those snacks that show up on the tables. So when you're at home, it's kind of a little bit easier to not eat those junk foods. Just don't buy them. Sometimes, if you have kids, might be a little bit more difficult. But what if there was a way to kind of get rid of those cravings? So when you're out and about and at those events, that you don't even care if you eat them or not. If you're on with me live today, I'd love to hear where you're from. Just comment in the comments where you're calling in from, and we'll give you a big hello. But did you know that a lot of the food cravings that you have are caused by negative trapped emotions? Previous emotional events that have not been processed can cause the urges for us to eat those foods. Like we're not even sure why. There's so much emotion around food and around eating because a lot of big events are around food. So these emotions can cause you to have feelings like having to clean your plate. It's not just your mom telling you have to do that. Maybe it was when you were little, but now that you're grown up, that might just be what it is, something from when you were a kid, or eating when you're bored, or feeling like you have to eat, just when you're watching TV, they automatically need something to eat, that mindless eating, or when you're eating, just, loading up your fork before you've even finished one mouthful, you're ready to stick the next one in there. I know, trust me, it's me too. So do any of these sound familiar to you? Which ones? Comment and below. What's a familiar one to you? So one of the ways we can release these emotions is by using the emotion code. The emotion code is a process that allows you to release the trapped emotions so that you have more control of your food rather than your food controlling you. So if you're hopping on live and you'd like to give it a demo, I will be going through how the process works. And if you want to comment in below with what is one of the foods that you have cravings for that you wish that you didn't. So if it's something like potato chips or donuts or a specific kind of cookies, the more specific you can get with it, the better it is. And once I'm done going through everything, if you leave me a comment, I will do a live demo for you. So just to give you an idea how it works with a couple people, I did have one client who had a specific kind of cookies that she couldn't resist. And she would always buy them when she was at the store and couldn't say no if somebody offered her one. So as soon as I finished, we did one session. And since then, she has not had the urge to eat one of those cookies and has not had one. She said she doesn't feel any deprivation. Another client I worked with, Milk Duds was the one that she had an issue with, and she could not resist buying some every time she saw them in the store. So now she can go in the store, walk right past them, and not feel like she's missing anything. She also had a lot of other eating issues, and we've helped to calm down a lot of those things. So you might be wondering, what the heck is this emotion code if you haven't been here with me before? And how does it work? So, like I said, here's the book. There is an actual process called the emotion code by Dr. Bradley Nelson. He developed this process. And it allows you to release negative trapped emotions. So during your life, when you go through events, if you don't process the emotions, they get trapped in your body. And they store like a little ball of energy. And over time, you can literally have hundreds of these trapped emotions. So I'll go through the steps that you would go through in order to release these emotions and how it works. So the first thing that we need to do is find out what emotions are involved. And to do that, we'll look at the emotion code chart. So here's the actual chart from Dr. Brad. You're not going to be able to see it very well here, but you can look it up on the internet. On this chart, there are 60 negative emotions. Yeah, they don't sound that great. Stuff like anxiety, low self-esteem, self-abuse just as far as, negative self-talk, that kind of stuff, rejection, resentment, unsupported. So all these kind of things can be the emotions that are contributing to different issues that you have going on. So the first thing we got to do is figure out what are those emotions. Now, before I can actually release those emotions, we have to get your permission. And so if you're an adult, I need to get your permission. If I want to work on your kids, it would need, the parents' permission. And we can also work on animals. I usually do this work we can do a video call. I do emails. We even can do it by a text message or messenger. So in order to do that, though, I do need to be your proxy. And what that means is I'm going to do the process on myself as if I'm you. And the way we do it is by using muscle testing. Now, if you've never heard of muscle testing, it's just an interesting way of getting answers from your subconscious, because your subconscious knows everything you've ever done, everything you've ever been, everything you need. So you just need a way to communicate with your subconscious, and that's by using muscle testing. And it's really interesting. If you want, you can go on YouTube and look it up, and there's lots of different methods of using muscle testing. Personally, I use what they call like a ring method. So I have my ring fingers and I link them together. And when I'm asking questions, and they're all going to be yes and no answer questions. When I'm asking, is it this emotion? It'll say yes. If it's not, it'll slip right through. So it does take some practice to learn how to do it, but it is something you can do on your own. And that's one of the things that I really love about this process. You can read the book and learn to do it on yourself or on other people. You don't have to take a course. There's nothing fancy about it, and anybody can learn how to do it. What we usually like to do when we're doing this process is we're going to find out what is the severity of the issue. So let's say it is a food craving. We can check what's the issue, the severity from a 1 to 10. And then after we've released the emotions, it'll have gone down. Eventually, we want to get it down to a 0. And that can release those emotions and release that feeling. Now, the other kinds of things that you can use for the emotion code. Today we're talking about food cravings, but you can do stuff like negative self-talk, limiting beliefs, fears, anxiety, seasonal allergies, all those kind of things, procrastination, any kind of bad habits. All of those things are going to have some emotion around it. Even aches and pains. Sometimes aches and pains are partly emotional, partly physical. So if we can release that emotional part, then your body is just able to better heal itself. Now, the way that we remove these emotions is by using a magnet. The cool thing is it doesn't have to be any kind of special magnet. You can just use a regular old fridge magnet. My emotion code chart just happens to be a magnet. So once I find the emotion on the chart, we then give it a swipe 3 times over the governing meridian. And that's the area that runs right from your nose all the way down the back of your spine. So as long as you swipe over that area, that's what will release the emotion, and just it dissolves out, just like deleting the magnetic strip on the back of your credit card. But before we get going, I always just have to make sure I'm hydrated. It helps just to get the energy flowing, just to get our personal Wi-Fi's attached. If we are both hydrated, just lets that energy to move through. So thanks for joining me here today, guys. Again, if you want to reach out, maybe you're just ready to book a call and you want to do one for yourself, just click the link on here and we can book a session together. Also, if you're a woman and you are entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, I am going to be starting a virtual free co-working session. That's going to be starting in October. So if you want to get started or get some information about that, just comment below with co-working and I'll send you the link so we can keep you updated. So thanks so much for joining me again today, guys, and I'll see you again next Tuesday at 11 a.m. Pacific. Have a great week.